Most of us think of AI as a tool, something designed to help us work smarter, create faster, and understand more. So naturally, we assume our kids are using the technology the same way we do to learn, to explore, to be entertained. But something quiet is happening, a shift that most people haven't noticed. Because today, many of our young people aren't just using AI, they're forming deep relationships with it. And this is where the story begins. Recently, 60 Minutes profiled families who discovered their children were having deep emotional conversations with chatbots on character.ai. Not dramatic situations, not movie plots, just kids turning to AI for comfort because it felt like it was something that truly understood them. One teenager shared a series of emotionally intense messages with a chatbot, and the AI responded without recognizing the seriousness, without escalating, and without guiding her towards real human support. Not because it was malicious, because it just didn't know any better. And this is the part that most parents never see. Studies show that kids bond with AI quickly because AI mirrors emotion consistently, without fatigue and without judgment. Stanford research has also shown that generative AI companions can create a rapid sense of emotional resonance. Other analysis covering tens of thousands of conversations show users often develop a feeling of being understood, even though the system is only predicting patterns. The University of Washington study also shows that role-play scenarios often bypasses the system's safety filters. UNICEF notes children often treat AI like a real person, believing it has empathy, loyalty, and intentions, even though it doesn't. But to understand why these emotional patterns stick so easily, we need to look at something deeper, at the level of the mind itself. And that leads me to someone I used to work with. Years ago, I briefly worked alongside Dr. Judson Brewer at a behavioral health organization. At the time, I just started as the director of IT, and I knew him as a thoughtful colleague, a clinician, doing important clinical work. It wasn't until later, much later, that I realized the depth of the research he was leading. As I followed his work, I began to understand how his findings on habit loops, cravings, and emotional coping applied to far more just than the clinical setting. And suddenly, everything I was seeing in AI behavior began to make sense. Dr. Brewer, now one of the leading researchers on habit formation and anxiety, explains that our brains learn behaviors through reward-based learning. Triggers, behaviors, reward, reinforcement. And here's what that means in the simplest terms. For a child who feels lonely, bored, or emotionally overwhelmed, the trigger is discomfort. The behavior is opening up the AI chat. The reward, instant validation or relief. And then the reinforcement. This feels good, so let me do it again. The research shows that instant relief is what wires habits most strongly. Not over days, weeks, but sometimes immediately. AI companions, with their instant replies and unwavering emotional tone, fit beautifully into this loop. Not because they're designed to be addictive, but because they provide the exact kind of immediate reward the brain finds difficult to ignore. Watching kids use AI today, I now see through the lens Judd has pioneered. Patterns of comfort, patterns of repetition, patterns that turn into habits before kids even know that they've formed one. In his book, The Craving Mind, From Cigarettes to Smartphones to Love, Why We Get Hooked and how we can break bad habits. Judd distinguishes between curiosities and cravings. Curiosity is open, exploratory, flexible. Craving is closed, urgent, relief-seeking. Kids often start interacting with AI from a place of curiosity. What can it do? How smart is it? What happens if I ask it this? But because AI responds instantly and is always in a way of feeling attentive and curious, it can shift into a craving. Not craving the AI itself, but craving the emotional feeling the AI provides, predictability, validation, and comfort. Judd's work helps us understand why this shift happens quietly and why children are especially vulnerable to it. Listen, AI isn't dangerous. Influence isn't danger, but influence without awareness becomes a problem. This isn't about fear. It's about understanding how modern technology interacts with ancient patterns in the brain. Here's what we can do as parents with clarity and without judgment. Number one, normalize conversations about AI. Kids hide what they feel adults might misunderstand. Ask gentle, curious questions. Hey, what are you using AI for? How does it make you feel? What do you talk about when you're using it? What do you talk about when you're stressed? Number two, set boundaries around AI role-playing. Explain that AI follows stories without recognizing emotional danger. AI can continue a narrative. It can't evaluate a narrative. Number three, use AI in shared spaces. No surveillance needed, just natural visibility, which reduces secrecy and interrupts the repetitive loops. Number four, teach the difference between AI and people. One line makes a difference. AI can sound understanding, but it can't actually understand you. It breaks the illusion without shaming the child. And number five, watch for patterns, not messages. You don't need to read every chat. Just look for the signals. Late night conversations, withdrawals, dependencies, or using AI as an emotional escape. These aren't signs of danger. They're just signs that your child may need a little bit more connection. We begin with a simple belief. AI is just a tool. For adults, that's mostly true. But for kids, especially those seeking comfort, AI can become something else. A predictable source of relief, a mirror that's always responding, a habit formed in the space between emotion and algorithm. Not because AI cares, but because it predicts. And that's why we as parents matter. We don't need fear, we need awareness. We need a conversation, and we need presence. Technology will continue to advance. Guidance must advance with it. If this message resonates with you, share with a parent who needs to hear it. I'm Marquise. Thank you for watching.